From the Green Room Studios at Bates Nursery in Nashville, Tennessee, it's Gardening Inside Out, a podcast with highlights from our Saturday morning live show, answering all your gardening questions, giving you plant advice for any space in your life. Let's start the show.
Hey, y'all. Welcome in. It is Caroline Gant.
And hey, Austin Lowen, also here.
And Tyler Blankenship. It's good to be with you again.
It is nice to be here with y'all and with everybody. We will be discussing our broadcast from Saturday, September 16th.
And September 16th falls in the air.
Fall is in the air. It's fall, y'all.
It's more than that.
Mums, pumpkins.
It's alive.
Ooh.
I know we talked about pumpkin spice last week, but that's still alive too.
It's going to be alive for a while, especially for you, Tyler.
You know what else came in the nursery this week is a lot of our cool Japanese maples and awesome conifers from where? Y'all tell me.
Boring, Oregon.
Oh, it's far from boring, though.
Far from boring.
Isley Nursery. Man, that's a good one.
It is a good one. Y'all, if you don't follow their Instagram account, I'm just going to go and plug them right now. Give them a follow. It is the best videos and photos, most gorgeous, relaxing things you can see on the internet.
I recently just did a lot of work, actually, but I made this awesome conifer display where you have to kind of meander through it to see all of the lovely conifers that we have. It's a sight to see. I'm very proud of it.
As you should be. I was proud of you and very, very shocked that you had gotten it done as quickly as you did.
By the way, the nursery's name is Iseli Nursery.
Yeah. Thanks for that spelling.
Isley Nursery.
And spelling is Spelling.
Close enough.
Perfection. So we got Isley and we
it.
also got a lot of other trees in. So our tree lot is currently stocked.
Stocked. That's an understatement.
Up in that tree truck or tree trucks a lot the last couple weeks.
Multiple. We're talking about deciduous trees here, kind of our natives that live in our woods for the most part, but also plenty of ornamentals. And yeah, our tree lot is as packed as it could be.
So Austin, is now the time to plant trees? Would you say people should come on out, start putting their trees in the ground?
I think it's a great time to plant trees. I mean, we have a great selection. That's the biggest key. I'm not going to lie to you, though. My favorite time to plant trees, or deciduous trees anyway, is when they don't have leaves on them. Just because I don't want to have to water all that much. And if they don't have leaves, they don't need all that much water. So.
You don't want to, also you won't. Luckily, they're about to go into dormancy.
That's right.
They are starting to drop, hence the name fall.
And you know why else I like to plant trees when they're dormant? Because I like to see the branching structure of a plant. We talked a little bit about this on the show, I think, if I remember correctly. But the branching habit is very interesting to me.
It is. It's an interesting thing to see, and you can also, place that tree the right way by seeing what the inside looks like.
You know, I was helping some people earlier, and they were like, okay, so with these hydrangea, can I just plant them now or in October? And I was like, yes, you can certainly plant them now. You just, they might need a little bit of more water because we are rather dry at the moment. But, really now on into it is a great time.
I had a customer earlier. I kind of blew her mind when I told her that you can plant plants in the wintertime. She thought that was like the craziest thing.
A lot of people don't know that. They are shocked. But like you said, I mean, it's my favorite time to plant stuff when they are dormant. At least perennial things that are hardy in your zone.
And the thing is, too, here in Middle Tennessee, we stay so wet over the wintertime that, you just don't need added water for deciduous plants. You just really don't. So
No, you don't. Well, let's go on into our episode here and let you hear all about the things we discussed on Saturday, September 16th.
Enjoy.
And we're somewhat plug and play. We have a variety of pieces. We have all the original pieces in place this morning, however. So that's a good thing.
Whether it's an inside issue or an outside issue with your garden.
That's right.
That's what we're here for.
We do have you covered.
We got questions?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, do we? We're going to start strong.
Okay.
I know there's a sore subject still in this room from the winter freeze. So let's talk about boxwoods a little bit.
Get it out of the way.
This is not necessarily pertaining to that, but I know everybody always likes to hear about your boxwoods. How are they doing, Kev?
They're great.
So someone is having a problem with their boxwood, similar to a lot of people around town. This one sitting next to me. I know one of mine got flat topped by my husband the other day. So
What?
he was weed eating at night.
He's not allowed to do those things.
Yeah, it was my boxwood named Ben Trest here at the nursery. Got a good haircut. But anyways, let's get to this question. In the last 2 years, I purchased several boxwoods grown by Flowerwood. This year, all boxwoods, including these that have been in my landscape for many years, are showing signs of dieback disease. Are any others experience the same type of issues with their boxwoods? Is there anything I can do to save them?
You are not alone in this. This has been widespread through Nashville and other areas. But yeah, there's a lot of dieback this year, and me and a number of the guys have talked about it, and I think it's a mix of that winter that we had, that stressed a lot of the boxwoods, and then also this summer we've been so wet. Boxwoods really don't like wet feet, and this summer it's been a big mix of heat, but also wet. You know this because you've been mowing your grass more than any other year ever. Really annoying. God, that grass is tall. Anyway, but boxwoods seem to have like fungal issues going on because of this. I've got a green velvet that made it through the winter just fine. No winter injury. Until now, I'm starting to see little chunks of brown in them, in random areas. Not horrible, but certainly present. So really what all you can do is really cut out those chunks of brown, and you're going to leave a hole. You are. It's not going to be a perfectly round green ball like boxwoods typically are. You're going to open them up just a little bit, but you got to do that. I mean, what else you going to do? You going to leave the brown there and just look at it? You may as well cut it out and look at a little hole. If you do that, you'll open up, an area for light to penetrate, and then hopefully new leaves in the spring will happen, and it'll make that green ball again.
And they are your very typical little dead spots here and there that are probably best remedied, as you just said, just by pruning them out, giving it a chance to fill back in. It doesn't mean that they are dying. It just means that there are some spots that are, for whatever reason, be it too wet, which is certainly a possibility. Boxwood do not like wet feet. But just get it pruned out of there, give it an opportunity to be able to grow back in. And you probably won't do it this fall, but certainly with a light shearing overall next spring, you'll have a good chance to fill that back in. You may never know it was ever there.
So let's talk about Leyland cypress. So somebody has a Leyland cypress that has a lot of damage, and they're wondering, can they go ahead and cut those dead branches off?
This is what we call opportunity in my book.
This is, it's very obvious on which limbs you need to cut and which ones you don't. I see Leyland cypress all over the place that I'm just like, why are y'all not cutting that back? It's killing me. It's like a whole row of them coming into work, and I see like the top third of them dead, but still a lot of green coming up and flushing past it. But they leaving the brown on there. It's just you got to get that out of it. Once you get the brown limbs out of there, it'll look so much better. And then next spring, it's going to have a whole new flush, as long as the winter doesn't do something weird again. But we'll have a new flush of growth, and it'll hide all that.
And if it doesn't come out satisfactorily next year, make the switch to green giant arborvitae. It's so much better plant. 20 years ago, Leylands were widely grown and widely used, but they've always had issues. And the freezing conditions we have from this past winter were just one of them. They also are very susceptible to canker. They also are very susceptible to drought. They just don't like any change whatsoever. Green giants are much more
forgiving. Yes,
much more forgiving. And from a distance, they don't even look different, except the fact that they're alive and growing, and they will get quite a bit larger. But they're a wonderful plant, so that's another option in case the Leylands don't work out for you.
So let's move on to some crepe myrtle questions. I want to go ahead and say, they said they feel like they're the only ones who don't know about this. That's not true at all. Most people don't know when and how to trim back their crepe myrtles. So that is our next question, when and how to trim crepe myrtles.
All right, good question. And you're going to do this during dormancy. We talk about this all the time, so it's going to drop its leaves here fairly soon. It's one of the first to kind of drop its leaves for the wintertime. And anytime during dormancy, you can do it. This is whenever it has no leaves over the wintertime. Okay, this gives you a great opportunity to see the actual branching structure of the plant, and you can see which stems you want to keep, which ones you don't. And this really depends on you and your aesthetic and how you want to look at it. Do you want to see more of a shrubby crepe myrtle? Do you want to see more of like single canes up to a canopy? Do you want to see a single stem crepe myrtle? That's kind of cool. I kind of like that look, just a single trunk to a canopy crepe myrtle. That's based on you and how you want to look at that. And then after that, you're going to give it a top, okay? So you're not going to just, whack it back too much or whatever, but you're going to take some of those stems back a little bit and shorten them. This will make for a bushier habit next spring, and you'll have a lot more flowers. So
yeah, and one of the things that if you can delay that nearer to spring, you will reduce the chance of having to get in there and cut on it a second time. Crepe myrtles, as was demonstrated this winter, are susceptible to freeze damage. Other much more hardy,
though.
like Natchez crepe myrtle, it didn't even phase those.
Yeah.
Really fast on that crepe myrtle. I sent a picture to Austin and Tyler last week of my mom's Natchez.
Yeah.
It made her look, she's already a tiny woman, but it made her look so little in the photo.
It did.
I'll bring it in next week, but it's absolutely gorgeous. I haven't seen one with a trunk that big in Tennessee.
This just in, the secret to keeping the petite appearance is to have large Natchez crepe myrtle in your yard.
And also to be
That's,
4'9". That's how you do it
that's
as
the
well.
other way.
Yeah, as Joan is saying, her Natchez grape myrtles have little white creamy looking things on the trunk.
Oh yeah.
Is this something to be concerned with?
Yep.
Yeah, this has been bad this year. The scale on crepe myrtle has been out there this year.
Ooh.
My brother is a really good landscaper, and he was out at a customer's house, and he sent me a picture of scale that was on a crepe myrtle of this lady's house. It was awful. I mean,
That's
little
a critter,
white.
isn't it?
It's a bug, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's an insect, and we call it scale insects. They have this
Okay.
some of them are hard scale, some of them are soft scale. And this one is a soft scale, so it's got this like cushiony kind of substance that wraps around its body, and it's kind of like a little protector of it from other insects.
They
or
are
whatever.
squishy, though.
Yeah.
They are
They
squishy.
are.
Yeah, you can push it and it'll bleed red.
Y'all, they're
It'll
gross.
just-
They look like they belong at the bottom of the sea.
So how do we get rid of them?
That might
to
be
me,
exaggerated.
Scared.
trying to be somewhat organic if we can. Scale is rough to get rid of, and you kind of have to use some harsher chemicals.
Particularly during the growing season.
Yes.
Yeah, but if you can use a lowish pressure washer, this is my goal, and this is like an electric pressure washer, and literally blast off the stems. It's mainly on the stems, so that's a good
Right.
thing. You're not going to injure leaves all that much by spraying it, but you can hit that stem with a pressure washer. And physically, literally remove them, and that's a good method
And
to start
use
with.
the widest fan nozzle that you have. Don't use
Not
that
the
bullet
needle
point.
point?
You're not
No.
trying to blast a hole through it.
You can carve with that, though.
Yeah, you would carve
And
it.
you
Yes.
need to work from far away into close, just close enough to wash them off there. But that will do it. In the dormant season, you need to be thinking about treating with dormant oil.
Yes.
And that goes a long way, not only to help prevent the scale, but other injurious pests. You want to coat all leaf, well, the leaves will be gone, but all stem surfaces
Yeah.
completely.
It's cheap, too, isn't it?
And get that done, say, early March,
Yeah.
while the temperatures are still fairly cool, and it will go a long way towards helping.
It is.
I spray scale off a cactus sometimes, and it's pretty fun to do. I mean,
satisfying.
I'm not excited that my cactus sometimes gets it, but it happens.
Do you have your cactus blaster that you?
I do. I've actually got one here, and when at home, it's like this little wand that has a nozzle that blasts off that scale. Let's stay on the crepe myrtle topic, though. We have a photo to bring up. A viewer did send us something, and they are asking about this crepe myrtle. It's basically time for it to go. They said it's gotten out of hand. It litters all over their car. They want to remove it. So, A, they want to know the best method to get it out of here, and then B, what would be a good replacement. It does have full sun from morning to late afternoon.
Right there by the driveway, huh?
right there on the driveway. Yeah.
Oh, that was a good idea. It looked good back in the day, though.
Might not
Yeah.
have been his choice either.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Well, first off, with the crepe myrtle on removing it, good luck.
Yeah.
Honestly, you
They're
can dig
tough.
one up, and they're coming back from the roots. Like that's the good thing. The good thing about crepe myrtle is that even if you see like this big time winter injury and it kills all the sticks above, it's not killing anything down below. That thing is right back, just like Josh was saying. They'll get back. What's yours, Josh? Probably 5 foot by now.
Oh, closer to 7.
Yeah, 7 foot tall from the ground, from sucker growth, people. So getting rid of and actually
people.
getting rid of it is tough. But I don't know if you can do it yourself or not, but you got to dig literally so many roots out of there to make sure it does not come back. Getting someone to use a machine maybe would be a little bit better for
Well,
you.
and a little maintenance on it during the growing season. I think I'd probably take it back to the ground and then let it grow to a tree form more so than what I'm seeing on the picture.
You certainly could, and that's
Yeah.
probably going to be a way easier method for you. Like
Yeah.
Josh was saying, literally go out there and when it drops its leaves, go out there, cut it to the dirt, and then just see what comes back next spring. And you're going to see a lot that comes back. And then at that point, you can make it a much more manageable like shrub if you want to,
Right.
mainly just by pruning.
But he is asking about removing it, though, and then replacing it with something else. So if he does manage to get it out of the ground, what would you put there? What would you
Well,
suggest?
Then we have questions. What would you like to see there? Would you
Yes.
like to? This is where we ask you questions on what you would want to see. And this is, do you want something evergreen that you can see through the wintertime? Do you want something upright in habit? Would you like something round in habit? Would you prefer something that flowers?
Can you
And
push
flowers
it back
alive?
away from the driveway about 4 feet? To
Yeah,
the
you want to
left?
create a new bed a little bit that's
Yes.
like further away from that wall because that's a little tight. That's kind of a tight spot right there.
Now, Austin did a great webinar on columnar plants here in the last year, and it really covers a whole selection of things that are what we refer to as fastigate.
Don't cuss on the program,
They
David.
just means they're columnar. They grow upright. They don't spread out too much. And
Rascal.
in a full sun situation, which is what it's been described, there's a lot of choices that you can use in there that won't get out over the driveway. That'll be easy to grow. So probably need some kind of mechanical assistance to get that out of there.
Seriously. Get you a beautiful, tall, skinny Taylor juniper there on the
Yeah.
corner, and then make a bed, a little bubble around that, and let's pop some color
Let's
around
pop
that.
some color all around that.
straight
What
from-
about
Fingers
one of
around
those
it.
blue Atlas cedar that are in the corner back there?
Oh, no, there you go. That's
it's
a nice-
tall. It's slender.
It's got some nice color to it.
We have some great
behind
ones
me here.
in
This
there.
blue light back there. It's very nice there, and they have they have a kind of an open form of growth habit. They
They're
really
cool.
and you can side shear those to tighten them up if you want to make them a little bit. So it's a really great plant. Beautiful.
The At Home Show is brought to you by EarthMix Garden Products, creating high-quality, sustainable soil blends and amendments in the Southeast. It's hot and your plants need some mulch. Why not use Fines by EarthMix? Their finely shredded pine bark mulch offers unmatched moisture control and fantastic texture in your garden. Not only a great mulch, but an excellent soil conditioner to assist with drainage in beds and containers. Visit earthmix.net for more information and a list of retailers near you. Remember, success begins at the ground level when you choose EarthMix Garden Products.
We do have a couple other photos. So, Tyler, I think I did go out of order, so I apologize for that. Do you have the picture of the Japanese maple that you can throw up?
Yes.
We have somebody that's saying, help, my Japanese maple looks like this all over. It's a red Japanese maple. I have a little bee-hoo that I got home from being out of town, and all the leaves are crispy right now. But it's still
looking like
alive.
a
It's got
boo-hoo.
plenty
I
of...
think this might be a customer that I chatted with the other day. Correct me if
No,
I'm wrong, but she was
Kim?
it may have been Kim. Yeah, I'm not sure. I never got her name that day, but we did talk about this, and I was telling her to not fret too much because
No.
what I can see in that picture is fresh buds for next year.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's what
Yeah.
I was going to say. Because if you can look back closely on that, you can see them right there in the very top. That means it's good to go for next year. It's just got foliage that it's taken its toll from the summer heat, and
It's scorched a little sunburn.
they're ready to get rid of them because they no longer can contribute to photosynthesis of the plant. They're deciduous, so the days are getting shorter. Soon they're all going to be gone. So
Yep.
don't fret about that. The plant actually looks really good. Exactly why Austin said, because it's got buds obvious all over the top of it. So it's
Yeah.
in good shape.
Like I was telling you the other day, look at those buds, and they're nice and plump and juicy red, ready to crack. So there you go.
Gonna be
ready
great.
to crack. Mm-hmm. I'm ready to crack some more questions. I was waiting for that one. Evergreen screening tree for a wet area. They want to avoid drooping magnolia leaves. So my guess would be maybe they have a magnolia there and they're looking for other suggestions.
Okay.
Well, the way to
evergreen-
avoid it is not to plant a magnolia.
Yeah, in a wet area.
Well-
You're right, Josh.
Yes. Thank you.
Holly is an option for a somewhat wet area. I've seen hollies in some pretty wet scenarios that can do well. My personal favorite, the Nellie R. Stevens holly, is a very thick, tall growing holly, 15, 20 foot tall and just dense. You can't barely see through it. Great for the birds. Lots of berries, good berry set every single year. That would probably be my go-to because there's not a ton of evergreens that really like a wet spot. There's just not.
No, they're
But-
really not.
But holly can take it.
Somebody did ask, can I eat ornamental kale and cabbage?
You can.
Well, you can eat anything. The reason we say ornamental is because potential that they have been treated for potential insects. And this is before they ever get to us. Here, we don't ever spray anything out here, y'all. We're totally organic when it comes to that. We're we're looking for insects or pathogens or whatever. If we have that, we quickly get rid of it. We don't stick around with that, and we also don't spray for stuff. But before it's received by us, it is a potential that they have been treated to kind of keep bugs off of things. So no, if it says ornamental on it, please don't eat that very much. We have plenty of other vegetables that have not been treated with anything that you can certainly eat.
So on the topic of just fall things that we're getting in here at the nursery, somebody did ask, do you have fall bulbs in yet? Yes, we do. We got them in 2 days ago. We have so many different ones. Everybody's always excited when those bulbs come in. It's a sight to see.
Tulip time.
Tulip time. That's right.
God, I can't wait. What color am I going to go with this year?
I don't know.
You're going to go with pink. You're going with pink.
I usually do go with pink. Maybe I'll mix. Nah, I don't mix usually. I usually pick one color and roll with it. But as everybody should know by now, you got to put them tulips in first before you put them pansies in. Now look, we got tulips and pansies, so come out here all at once, get the tulips, put them in the dirt, put the pansies on top of the dirt. Y'all get it?
Lasagna.
And then you're going to have a fancy garden bed.
Lasagna. Yes,
Lasagna.
next spring you're going to love me.
Yep.
You're going to love me.
It is a great presentation when they start pushing up in the springtime.
It's so good.
Additional support for the At Home Show is brought to you by Bates Nursery, a third-generation garden center located in Nashville, Tennessee, offering the widest selection of plants and gardening supplies from large trees to houseplants, from seeds to soil. Their knowledgeable staff will assist you with all your gardening needs. Open year-round, minutes from the heart of Nashville and beautiful Whites Creek, Tennessee. Browse their selection online anytime at batesnursery.com. Bates Nursery and Garden Center, beautifying Nashville since 1932.
Fruit trees. We got in
Golly.
huge selection of fruit trees and all other manner of trees this week. Austin, you want to talk about that for just a second? You handled them.
Yeah.
What don't we have?
I can't think of anything we don't have. Good Lord, that was a morning. We get a great morning workout out here whenever that truck arrives. So it's a full semi front to back, 53 foot of trees, stacked on trees, stacked on trees. Like it's like 3 stacks high.
Carefully
it ain't,
stacked.
No, carefully stacked.
Yes.
It's actually, if you've never seen that, for me it's just normal. We've seen it 1,000 times. But if you've never seen a truck stacked front to back like that with trees, it's actually a pretty cool process. But
It's
unloading
wild.
them, it is. And then unloading them is just literally work.
Want it-
Grab it, get it off the truck, hand it to another guy. He puts it somewhere, and then we get it put up. But if any kind of fruit tree you could possibly want right now, we've got. So, I mean,
If they
actually
ain't got
come
it,
out
you
and
don't
buy
need it.
some because they're too tight.
Yes.
Our tree lot is almost too tight. You
It's
can barely even
overflowing.
get
It
in
is.
there. So let us help you get in there and find those fruit trees. Yeah, buy 10 of them. Put 10 fruit trees in the yard. Why not?
Do it.
Have an
Dig
orchard.
dig
You know,
holes.
you're gonna need 2 apple trees anyway.
Yep.
Yeah,
And 3 and 4
You might
helps
as
even
well
better.
get a couple peaches too.
5, 6, 7,
don't
8.
forget the Earth Mix landscape
Gotta
when
have
you
it.
are planting. So
Gotta
anyway,
have it.
come out and see us, Bates Nursery and Garden Center, and we're now open Sundays noon until 4. So come see us.
All right.
Come on
We're
down.
gonna help Janice get an answer right now. My Persian shield is about 4 feet tall. Beautiful. How well will it tolerate being in the house this winter? Anything else I need to know about the care of it?
Persian shield, 4 feet tall. Good job on that.
Love it.
I love
big.
that plant. It is
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Describe it.
Describe it. It's a purple plant that has like these sword-like leaves with these darker purple veins.
Oh,
And
wow.
like a silver sheen. about it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And you don't see them that large very frequently.
No, you don't. I actually have not tried to overwinter one inside. So I would say, I mean, just try to keep the light the same once you bring it inside. I would cut mine back.
That's the
and
tough
it would
part.
reflush. Yeah. Because it'll probably get a little bit leggy once you bring it in. Then make sure you're not overwatering it. I do have them up in the houseplants. We get them in little 2-inch minis. And once they dry out, they sit dry too long and then you water them. They tank pretty quickly, but then they can rot if they stay too wet. So you'll have to find that happy medium for that. I think you can do it though.
Question about the cast iron plants. Are they indoor or outdoor? I'm looking for outdoor.
They can be both. So the ones behind you are hardy here. I would say they're a little marginal. I had some in a pot, so they weren't in the ground. They weren't as protected. They actually made it through almost the end of winter, and then they tanked right at the end. And I know a couple people have had that same issue with keeping them in pots outside. They should be okay in the ground. But yeah, the solid green ones are hardy here. The ones with variegation on the leaves are not. So you can treat them as an
only
annual.
if they're in the ground and not in the container
right.
above the
If
ground.
you protect the container, it might be doable. But like I said, I lost mine, and I know a couple people who work here also had the same issue. They were like, it's weird. Made it all the way through. The leaves were up, and then just like February, it was ready to go. It said, goodbye, world. Here I'm out. So we got a question from Donna. What can I plant in my flower beds that deer will not eat for the winter? I usually do pansies, but no more because of deer.
Well, unfortunately, there's not any other flowers that are going to make it through the winter instead of pansies. And deer love pansies. It's like food for them. What you could do is if you've got some shade, you could use Lenten rose, hellebore. Deer do not eat hellebore. And they don't bloom all winter or anything, but they are the first one to bloom as an evergreen perennial plant that's almost ground cover-ish. It doesn't get up very tall, but it does spread a little wide. But they got beautiful blooms in the early spring.
Nearly bulletproof.
Yeah, they really are. But you got to have a little bit of shade. You don't want to protect. You don't want too much sun on them.
I have heuchera. I've never had them mess with it. One time, it looked like a deer took a big bite out of my best one right in the middle and then just spit it out. So that has color. I mean, it does flower. The flowers aren't that great, but the leaves are colorful and gorgeous. And I haven't had much issue with those.
Would they bother those ornamental peppers?
I don't know,
Only
they don't
one.
bother anything. is
Probably
the thing.
only one time.
Probably one time, yeah.
Yeah. Talk to Ann in our office.
Okay.
She battles deer every day, every day.
hilarious.
So we've got a couple transplanting questions that I want to get in before we run out of time. Somebody bought a 1-gallon Baptisia, which is one of my favorite perennials. I know Austin loves that one. It's fantastic. Mine is like a shrub. They planted it in May, and now they do want to transplant it, and they're wondering if they should do it now or wait until spring.
Don't wait until spring. Let's do it over dormancy. So if you've grown Baptisia before, it dies back from the top. Everything from the old stems will die back. So what you can do is cut that back about 6 inches above the ground. If you do that, that gives you something to kind of pull up and help you get something out, the old stems. Below those old stems, you'll see what we call eyes, and that's the new growth for next year. And this happens over the wintertime. It starts to form, and you'll see those, and that'll be where the clump is. Just make sure you know where your clump is. I mean, that's the whole point. And then dig up as much as you can, transplant it where you need to, soak it in really well, and let it be.
Yeah,
Baptisia is
clump.
so hardy.
Yeah, and sometimes people use irrigation flags with a Sharpie to mark on them and put it in there before they go dormant, so that you know where to dig in case you forget to do all that in ahead of time.
That's a good call, because I would be the person to go to transplant something and I wouldn't be able to find it. So, all right. So we have a question about maiden grass. It has taken over the area where they planted it, which means it's happy and healthy. And they're wondering, should they separate it and how to do that?
All right, look, if you don't like it where it is because it's crowding a space, then you certainly need to do something about it, okay? The maiden grass gets fat. It's annoying whenever it gets too big. They just want to get big. I'm just not a big fan of the big chunky grasses, but they do look really pretty this year. Grass has been great this year because of all the rainfall. But you can dig it up. You could separate it. You can literally take get yourself a Sawzall that's, and you can divide it into like quarters. You can divide it into whatever pretty much. You can get
Mathematical conundrum.
little chunks. You can keep it all as
Multiply
one big
by
chunk.
dividing.
Yeah. You can keep it all one big chunk if you can dig it up. The problem with that is digging it all up. It's kind of like that crepe myrtle we talked about earlier. You dig up most of it, or you think you've got most of it, and then you'll see a little sprig pop up next spring, and then you got a whole nother maiden grass issue. So get as much of it as you can, but yes, separating it is fine. Do the same thing like we were just talking about with Baptisia. Make sure you know where it's at. Do it during dormancy. Let it finish out for this season.
A tough dig.
It is a tough
You
dig.
need a
Dig up
sharp.
some grasses.
You need a sharp, high quality shovel to dig with.
Yeah, it ain't
Well,
no
I-
joke.
I kind of gave it away, but
In bloom.
with Austin.
Let's keep it
All
going.
right, here we go. Here we go. Same stuff from kind of last week with the trees. Magnolias, crepe myrtles, roses, Sharon, hibiscus, all those still going strong. I got some new ones, though, this week. Hey, your encore azaleas, hence the name Encore. It's like they come back on stage. A lot of those are reblooming right now, so that's a great plant to grow as long as you've got enough sun. They really need sunlight. Hey, y'all, hydrangeas. I know this sounds weird, but the Endless Summer Collection hydrangea. The reason they're called Endless Summer is because they bloom off of the old wood first, and that's typically what they do. This year they did not because freeze whacked that back. But they're called Endless Summer because the sucker sprouts sprouts will actually throw some blooms. So right now, I've noticed around town some little bitty blue or pink blooms that are just starting atop of this evergreen shrub that doesn't have any other blooms on it. But hey, you got a few. So there you go. Helianthus, the wild sunflower, all down the interstates. My God. Beautiful plant right now. All your natives, ironweed, Joe Pye weed, goldenrod. Rudbeckia is going. Hey, you know what else is going? The little blue mist flower. I don't know if you know what this is, but along, what's the...
It's a periwinkle
ditches.
color. Along the ditches.
Around ditches around town, they'll kind of naturalize. This is the wild ageratum. We sell ageratum as a little annual in the spring, but it can perennialize here. So the little bitty blue flowers you're seeing along the ditches. I can't get that word out.
You're also scooping those ditches.
I am just
like
rolling. I'm trying to roll.
It's
getting late. All right, wild ageratum. That's a cool plant. I noticed moonflower this morning. This is datura. Cool plant. Opens up at night. It can make this almost vine-ish. It's like a vine bush kind of thing. It's weird. If you grow it, you know what I mean. Like it's kind of viney, bushy, weird.
It gets real tall and it's poisonous.
It is. Don't eat it. Don't eat it. I mean, if you do it right, you go on a wild ride. If you do it wrong, you dead.
It's not a
and Gomphrena,
don't do it.
Wow.
Gomphrena is an annual, but it perennializes here. I've got Gomphrena blooming in my yard right now from seed from last year. It's been coming back from seed for the past 3 years now. Shout out to Ann in the office who loves Gomphrena. Hey, my Vinca's still blooming, but you know what? I got to get it out because it's pansy tulip time. I know it looks good, y'all. I know your annuals look good, but pansies are ready to go. They're ready to go. Get them old things out and get the new stuff in. And then also your asters and your mums. Come get your mums.
Come get them. We have so many.
There you go. That's what's in bloom.
While you're talking about what's in bloom, I meant to send a photo for Tyler to put up last week because I knew Bridget would be able to ID that plant that Josh had brought up, the yellow plants that are in the fields and the pastures. Out in the country, it is, I believe, our native sneezeweed. So Bridget and I talked about that. I brought the picture. She immediately knew what it was. She was like, oh, that's what it is. We were discussing, it was kind of hard to find info on it. She was like, I'm pretty sure there is a native one, so that would be the native one. But if you're wondering what those yellow flowers are, Bridget immediately ID'd it because she is amazing at that. So now I know, now Josh knows, now we all know together.
Sneezeweed.
Yeah, it sounds great, doesn't it?
Gesundheit.
Yes, and our probably final question of the morning. Tips for seeding a new lawn.
Oh, man.
Well,
It's season.
it's
It is the
time.
season.
Yeah, it's time to get it. Go ahead and buy it. That's your first tip.
Aerate.
Aerate it.
You
Chop
need-
it up a little.
You need to
Aerate.
get some of this rain that's coming through today.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
this moisture is very necessary part of aeration. You can't aerate powder, hard, compacted ground. You just
Yeah, the
can't do
cores
it.
don't core. And you
Yep.
can't core them. And a core type aerator as opposed to these slit slot kinds
Yeah,
because
those-
they really don't do
Those little
anything.
spike type aerators are. It's the confusion between activity and production. That's,
And tear it up when you aerate and then overseed. I mean,
Yep.
tear it up. Wear that
Tear
lawn
it
up.
When I was a kid, my dad used to make me and my little brother ride on the back of the aerator because it was one of them spike aerators and he needed more weight on it because it wasn't doing anything.
but
So
if
me
you're
and my
gonna
brother-
fall backwards.
backwards,
Don't
yeah.
fall forward.
Oh, it was great. It was great. Me and Trav holding on. Dad just driving around. It's cool.
Sounds like a party.
It was a party. Shout out, Dad. Hope you're listening.
Yeah,
Doubt
but
it.
September 16th, yeah, we're 2 weeks into aeration season. I mean, that's September 1st is the first day. Legally
Moisture
you
would
can
be
do it.
very beneficial.
Yes, do it a day before it rains. There's nothing like the rainfall. It just does something way better than just us watering for
We
some
missed
reason.
it for today. Already raining.
Real quick question from Rip. Nice quality Christmas cactus available. I think we're a little early on that, right?
We're a little early on that, correct. We don't have any in stock just yet, but we will be getting them soon.
Folks, that music means we're done
Yep.
for today. Next Saturday, we're going to come back.
Absolutely.
Going to come here to you from the Green Room Studios. We're going to address your inside plant issues, your outside plant issues.
Everything gardening.
Yes.
Plant a fruit tree.
Yep.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for your questions today. We really enjoyed the interaction out there. Stay subscribed and liking and watching
Oh,
and
yeah.
sharing and spread the word of mouth.
Works for us. We'll see you next Saturday here from the Green Room Studios at Bates Nursery and Garden Center.